Governor, we were just at a press conference with James Solomon and 3 other former candidates who are supporting him. They say that you are MAGA supported and that you're not good for Jersey City. Your response to that?
Well, I think it's nuts. I mean, the first thing to understand is that Councilman Solomon has been here for the past 8 years. And while he's been here for the past 8 years, Jersey City has had among the highest property taxes increases in the state of New Jersey. Rents have gone up among the highest in the nation. And in addition to that, not one single affordable housing unit has been built in downtown Jersey City under James Solomon's watch. And so James Solomon has been here for the past 8 years. He's been part of the government. And so we've seen taxes go up, we've seen rents go up, we've not seen anybody served by his right to counsel. And so my perspective is you've been in government for the past 8 years and all the bad things have happened. What should have been going down has gone up. So what are you going to do miraculously different if you become mayor? I would argue you're going to make things even worse.
Jim, do you have a question?
Yeah, so, Governor, you saw several candidates who ran for mayor against you have essentially teamed up against you by endorsing your reaction to that.
Yeah, no, but the problem is, Jim, is that these are people who have been here in Jersey City government. I've been working in reentry for the past 10 years, working people coming back from prison, addiction, veterans. They've been there. And while James Solomon's been on the council, we've seen rents go sky high, we've seen property taxes go sky high. Not a single affordable unit has been built downtown. And so my perspective is, you can complain about Jim McGreevey for all the worst things in the world, but at the same time, your record is abysmal. If you're there for another, God forbid, you're there for 4 years, we're going to see property taxes go up, we're going to see rents go up, and in the meantime, Councilman Solomon wanted to defund the police. He actually said the police department should be 50% of its size. So I think rationally and reasonably, you can't pretend you haven't been in government. And while you were in government, you've accomplished literally worsening the financial condition of the city, and most importantly, Jersey City families.
Jim, what would you do to combat crime? 2 officers shot in just recent months. What is your plan?
Well, part of it is we have to, unlike Councilman Solomon, who wanted to defund the police and actually decrease the amount provided for policing, I would increase the number of police officers and return to community policing. My grandfather was a police officer, my uncle, and part of it is to walk the beat, to know businesses, to know communities. And so I think community policing is so critically important to public safety. But that's what I find so disingenuous. I mean, James Solomon can't pretend he was a ghost for the past 8 years. He represented downtown. And I would also argue that Jersey City is more than just downtown. But while he was there, property taxes, in fact, 1 year Jersey City had the highest property tax increase in the state of New Jersey. Rents went up among the highest in the nation. Not a single affordable housing unit was built while James Solomon sat on the Jersey City Council. So part of this, I believe, is an effort to distract the voters as to Jim McGreevey being some monster. In the meantime, ducking a record that's abysmal for working families.
Mayor Fulop has not come out to endorse anyone. In fact, he has said that James Solomon's campaign has been a little ugly. And today at the press conference, there seemed to be an attack on you. Musab Ali saying that you resigned in disgrace. There seems to be a sense of coming after you because of your past. Your response to that?
When I was having a conversation with other folks and with Musab Ali, I asked him point blank, who would be the better mayor, myself or Councilman Solomon? And he said, you would, Jim McGreevey. So what I find disingenuous is, in an effort to deflect and focus on McGreevey, what counts to working families in Jersey City is affordability, not name calling. And so it's building more affordable units, it's controlling property taxes, controlling rent increases. I want to have a tenant rights advocate unit that's meaningful, that will fight for advocates. And what I find disconcerting, I find frustrating or disingenuous, is that James talks about affordable housing, but hasn't built a single unit downtown in 8 long years. So you can't talk about affordable housing now that you're running for mayor and not pretend that you have a record for the past 8 years. So for the past 8 years, he hasn't built a single unit of affordable housing. He's seen property tax increases go up. He's seen rents go up. And so I would argue you can deflect and look at McGreevy, but at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for your record.
I think my question more is about, the personal attacks, right? Do you feel like you've given so much in the last 20 years? Have you redeemed yourself? I mean, they are coming after you in terms of, you resigned in disgrace. And I think I'm looking for more of a, Jim McGreevy, like, what have you done?
Yeah, I mean, like for the past 10 years, I've worked with people coming home from prison or from county jail, or veterans coming home, and people suffering from addiction. And so this is work that I love. And at the end of the day, with all due respect to those 3 individuals, what counts to me is what I do every single day to improve people's lives. And I think that's what this mayoral election is about. It's how are we going to improve the quality of people's lives in terms of controlling property taxes, or stopping these exorbitant rent increases, or making sure that we have safe and clean streets, or bolstering our police department, or working with our school district to bolster literacy scores. Those are all positive things. And so maybe it's a generational approach, but like castigating and name calling, I mean, I learned that in 3rd grade when I came home and my mother said, don't be calling folks names, do something positive. So I choose to run a different campaign. My campaign is focusing in on the bread and butter issues that are important to Jersey City families.
We hear a lot about the Democratic machine, referring to politics in New Jersey of the past. We've heard the current mayor speak about this. We've seen the other candidates for mayor speak about this. Are you part of that Democratic machine? Why or why not?
Well, the county executive said he's maintaining neutrality, so I guess I'm not part of the machine anymore. No, I'm running for this, Jimmy, because at the end of the day, I want Jersey City, the place of my birth, the home to my grandparents and my parents. I want it to be a better city. I see financial irregularities that have to be addressed. I see the need for public safety to battle crime. I see the need for cooperation with our school district, but we have to also get our financial house in order. James Solomon has never worked for a living. James Solomon has had 2 years where he served as an intern for the mayor of Boston. I mean, every day I worked as mayor of the Township of Woodbridge. Every day I worked in terms of the state parole board. And part of this is how are you going to manage and how are you going to lead? And I think this is a great deflection strategy. Let's deflect on McGreevy. Let's beat the heck out of McGreevy, and God bless. Go knock yourself out. But at the end of the day, how are you going to control property taxes? How are you going to control rents? How are you going to build more affordable housing? And the reality is, while you sat there for 8 long years, 8 years, you saw the highest property taxes in the state, the highest rent increases in the nation, and you didn't build one affordable unit, and Jim McGreevy's responsible? Jim McGreevy was working in reentry. I wasn't sitting on that council. I wasn't deciding the budget. I wasn't deciding the property tax increase. I wasn't standing by as rents went through the roof. I wasn't standing by as you try to cut the police department. This is James Solomon's record. So it's a great, bait and switch game, which I find to be completely disingenuous.
Governor, one last for me question is at this event earlier today, all 3, the former candidates and James Solomon, said that you're being funded by MAGA. You're being funded by Charles Kushner, obviously Jared Kushner's father, and that you're MAGA funded, and that seemed to work in the governor's election this year. What do you have to say to that?
I was born a Democrat, baptized at St. Patrick's, and I'll die a Democrat. I mean, that's just silly. But again, this is deflection, right? What matters to people in Jersey City is their children's education, is safe and clean streets, is affordability of units. So instead of talking about housing, instead of talking about how we can work with the school board, instead of talking about how we can improve community policing, we're talking about a check that somebody wrote to Jim McGreevy. And so what I just think this is a bait and switch game, and the point is, James Solomon doesn't want to talk about his record. James Solomon doesn't want to talk about the fact for 8 long years, he saw property tax increases go up, rents go up, and not a single unit of affordable housing. So now let's talk about Jim McGreevey, and let's villainize Jim McGreevey's past as a way of deflecting so I don't have to talk about my record. Which, candidly, you want to talk what's in the interest of working families? Driving up property taxes and rents and not a single unit of affordable housing? Trying to propose to cutting the police department? That's not what working families need. I find this to be like just a charade.
You good?
No more questions.
We're good, thank you.
Good.
Thank
Hopefully
you,
I
sir.
answered.
You did,
Stay
you
there.
did. Okay, I'm gonna get a 2-shot. You can keep talking, I guess. I think, what's your strategy going forward?
My strategy is to talk about the bread and butter issues that count to voters, right? So I could choose to just be beating up James Solomon, but I want to talk about real issues that make a difference in people's lives. And that is controlling properties taxes, that is stabilizing rents, that is making sure that we have adequate policing on the streets to protect our families and protect our loved ones. I'm talking about the issues that count to the voters, not engaging in this nonsensical, give and take.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Governor.
Stuart.
Always good to talk to you.
Thank you.